West Africa Examinations Council, WAEC, has released provisional results of candidates who sat for the WASSCE for the 2021 year. For the year under review, per the statement signed by the Public Relations Affairs Officer of the West Africa Examination Council, Agnes Tekujo, a number of individuals, that's 1,339 subject results and 174 entire results, have been cancelled for various examination malpractices. The entire results of 3,667 candidates have been withheld pending the conclusion of investigations into various cases for examination malpractice detected during and after the conduct of the examinations. And according to the statement, 3,545, representing 0.79% of candidates who registered, were absent from the examination. Let me quickly run by you some of the details of the statement per the results that have been released and the subject-specific results that have been released. So we have the English language, the number of individuals who scored between A1 and C6, as you can see, 238,819, and that forms just some 54.08% of candidates who sat the examination. And then we have D7, we have 50,255, representing 11.38% of candidates who sat the exam, scoring D7 in the English language paper. And then E8, we have 39,760, representing 9%. And then for F9, we have 61,788, representing 13.99% of candidates who secured an F9 in English language. Then we have mathematics. Those who scored between A1 and C6, 238,539. That represents some 54.11% of candidates. And for those who scored D7, we are 39,547. That's just about 8.97% of candidates. And those who scored E8, 10% of the candidates. And the total number of candidates are 45,526. And for F9, 88,631. That's 20.11% of candidates who scored an F9 in there. Now we have integrated science. You can see A1 to C6, 289,000, D7, E8, F9, and it runs across. We'll be doing an analysis of the results 2020 compared to 2021 and see how the students fared. And so while we have that analysis that will be coming through shortly, we have, for example, English language. When you look at the 2020 figures, 57.34%. And in 2021, we are 54.08%. So that represents a decline. If you look at the figures, 57% and 54%. That's English language. And mathematics, from 65.71% in 2020, we now have 54.11%, also a decline there. But for the integrated science and social studies papers, there appear to be some, improvement. So you have 52% in 2020, and then we have 65.70% in 2021. And then social studies, 64%, and in 2029 we have 66.0%. Peter Pateantis, Executive Director of the Institute for Education Studies, IFES, is joining me for a conversation. Thank you, Peter, for joining us. Now we see that the performance when it comes to the English language, it dropped. Same with the mathematics. And per your understanding and your assessments, would it appear that the students are improving year on year? Peter Patianti, if you are there, I'm asking, per your analysis of the results so far, specifically the maths and the English language papers, which have showed a decline in the percentage score per the individuals. I'm asking, if you have done the analysis per the results of 2020 and 2021, does it appear we're getting something wrong?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, good. So, yes, we've looked at the results. As you indicated, it seems that this year there's a drop in performance for English and Maths as compared to an appreciation of the students' performance in science and social studies. I always indicate that it is very difficult for anybody to pinpoint the actual reasons why students perform in a certain manner in an examination without going through some form of rigorous research and analysis, because the factors that determine the student performance in an examination are numerous, and we would need to take a critical look at these individual factors, which could be a school factors, examination factors, student background factors, teacher factors, and all the other ones. So I will not be quick to pinpoint or indicate that the performance is because of factor A or factor B, because I've not undertaken any research to state that. But what I can say is that it still seems that we are still not getting our assessment procedures correct.
Okay.
It still seems that we are pushing most of our students out of the system, because if you take 2020, on the average, only 60% qualified to tertiary institutions. If you take 2021, on the average, only 60% qualified for tertiary institutions. So within last year and this year, we have 40% of students who sat for the WASSCE exams who will not be able to access tertiary education unless they sit and better any of the core results that they have. And that is very problematic as a country for us. And that's why some of us, we have said time and time again that we need to have a second look at the role that WASSCE plays in the life of the student. Because you cannot truncate the life of the student because he could not pass science, or he could not pass social studies, or he could not pass mathematics, or he could not pass English language. So these are issues that we will have to continue to talk about to ensure that we do not just throw these kids away because we would want them to have a specific grade in these core subjects for them to progress in the academic life.
Okay, there are also a significant number of students whose results have either been cancelled or withheld because of exam malpractices. It also appears again that exam malpractices is something that is a monster, actually, that will not go away. How do we fix this one?
Yeah, so for those whose results have been cancelled, I think the assumption would be that they engage in exam malpractices during the conduct of the examination. And I think that we have to still strengthen our supervision, of the exams well, so that we will not have some of these things happening. But of course, students would not engage in exams malpractices if they know that even if they do not make the mark, they will still be able to do something with their life. So all these conversations, I always want to redirect it, that we need to have a general discussion as to what really WASSCE results are for. That do we evaluate the ability of a child to continue his education after 14 years of basic pre-tertiary education by just the WASSCE results? That is a discussion we need to have as a country. And when we are able to get that clear, these kinds of malpractices and people going the extra mile to get questions so that they'll be able to pass and continue the education would be minimized.
Peter Pate.